Karen, just to be clear, you didn't do it.
We know who did it, Steve. We know. And we know who spearheaded this cover-up. You all know.
Yes, we do.
If John was beaten up and attacked in that house, who did it?
We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. And it's not for us to know. Somebody other than Karen is responsible for that, for the killing of John.
You are listening to the Roberta Glass True Crime Report, putting the true back in true crime. From New York City, Roberta Glass is now on the record.
Okay, here we go. Happy Saturday, everybody. How is everybody? Hello, Ain't No Hollaback Gal. Hello, Melanie. Hello, Barb. Hello, Maestro. Hello, Case 10. All right. A very candid show today. Boy, do I have a lot to say. And someone who's been covering this subject of innocence fraud, I would say the Karen Reed case is the most frustrating case to cover. Because nowhere else in any other innocence fraud campaign that I've covered has there been no counter campaign. Every really prominent person that thinks Karen Reed, and rightfully thinks Karen Reed, reversed into John O'Keefe and left him to die in the cold, has adopted some parts of her innocence fraud campaign, whether they're saying that she didn't mean to do it, that her crime, like Kate Peter, like her crime's so relatable, or they're saying that she was so drunk out of her mind, didn't know what she was doing. I mean, the whole meaning of the evidence, the reason I talk so much about her foot being 74.5% down on the gas pedal and that she went 24 miles an hour in reverse, because that shows a purposeful act. That is the meaning of that evidence, that she was meaning to do something. And now, if you're an anonymous lawyer, another weak actor on our side of the, or I don't even want to call it our side on the, because I don't really belong to any side. I just belong to the truth. And saying that she did that, I mean, to me, this seems like the most laughable conclusion when looking at the evidence in its entirety, that Karen Reed was so frustrated with being lost that she just was frustrated and reversed 24 miles an hour in reverse, her foot that far down on the gas pedal, felt she struck something and didn't get out and check, knowing that John O'Keefe just exited the car. I mean, we have people on this side of the fence still saying that Karen Reed dropped him off. There was no dropping off. He got out of the car. I would think after they argued, they sat outside 34 Fairview for a little while, got out with her cocktail glass, and presumably was walking to go into the home. But Karen Reed had other plans. I can't say whether she meant to kill him. I can't go that far, but I feel that it's fair to say that she meant to hit him. But nowhere in any other innocence fraud campaigns do we have people in thinking that the person did it, but giving wild reasons, like maybe say in the West Memphis 3 case, like they were also incredibly drunk. They didn't know what they were doing. They all were. All the defendants in the West Memphis 3 case were drunk. But nobody on this side of the fence says, oh, they were so drunk they didn't know what they were doing. Or they didn't mean to do it. They accidentally tripped and killed 3 children. Didn't mean to do it. It's so bizarre. And so today we have, or in the past couple of days, we have news that Jen McCabe was following Aiden Turtleboy Carney about a month before her first trial started. I mean, that's approximate. It's March 6th. We're talking about the date. I believe Karen Reed's trial started mid-April 2024. So here's Jen McCabe talking about how she wants to take someone else's car and stake out and follow Turtleboy. And the Free Karen readers are very smart to say that this could be considered stalking. And she knows she shouldn't do it. I mean, let's look at the actual messages. She knows she shouldn't do it because she says, like, I don't want to be seen in my car. If you need to take someone else's car, maybe you shouldn't be doing it, Jennifer McCabe. And my point is that these witnesses who claim on their Testify website that they want to help other unnamed witnesses who've been in other unnamed court cases, who've been witnesses of witnesses in court cases and have been harassed. They want to help them. How can these witnesses help them when they can't help themselves? And when I put this title, they couldn't help themselves, I was really also talking about Jen McCabe not being able to curb her impulses to follow Aiden Turtleboy Carney. And when Karen Reed started her cover-up immediately after reversing into John O'Keefe, she knew all the personalities in that house, including Jennifer McCabe and Carrie Roberts. The first people she called that morning were Michael Camerano and Catherine Camerano, who we know by the way that they gave their evidence, they would say the least and the least and hold on to as much information as they could to protect themselves in this case. But they weren't available. So she called Jennifer McCabe and Carrie Roberts. And she knew that by adding in those figures and different personalities and mixing it all up, she could successfully distract away from her own behavior and her own crime. She knew that she could maximize their personal weaknesses. Look, we all have personal weaknesses. But it's very interesting to me that none of these people came out pre-trial and gave an interview to correct the record while they were being smeared. Also, I believe Jen McCabe still has her Facebook messages open to this day. Now, that may be because she wants to catch people who are harassing her or whatever. But, I mean, Karen Reed could mine Facebook and start to make connections between these people and try to plot some story about a conspiracy. There were some witnesses who put their social media on private, which would be the thing to do, and protect themselves. But why didn't this happen with Jennifer McCabe and the Alberts? I mean, you know, so do they regret not putting their social media on private? Sarah Levinson and Julie Nagel were wise and took their social media down or made it private. But the McCabe's, Alberts, and the Proctors carried on as normal. And I think by the time that they figure out what happened in this case and how Karen Reed manipulated them, Karen Reed will be long, she's not only criminally gotten away with it, but she will have cemented her innocence fraud campaign in the public narrative. So this is a text between Jen McCabe, Julie Crisello, and Lisa Crisello, who are sisters, I believe. Am I wrong? Are they sisters-in-law? Are they sisters? Are we planning okay? It starts out just quickly. Are we planning okay doing Operation Stakeout after he does his live? We should listen to the live and then go, says Jen McCabe. And then she says in another text, should we take his car? I mean, all this they're going to have to answer in deposition. And this will be a very convenient way to distract away from Karen Reed's own behavior and own actions. And there's been so many distractions. Like, just nobody wants to call out mainstream media. Court TV was the first person that started this innocence fraud campaign. If you look at my last episode for Karen Reed, way before Aidan Carney got involved. So everybody's afraid to call out mainstream media. But what I have learned from covering innocence fraud is that if you read about any case in the New York Times, New Yorker, any of our mainstream media, no matter how esteemed their reputation is, do not believe most of it. Take it all with a grain of salt until you can look at the court transcripts. Our true crime media is so involved in pushing a killer's innocence fraud narrative forward. And many more people read mainstream media than ever read Aidan Carney's blog. So here, this is just, my question always was, why did Karen Reed choose Jen McCabe and Carrie Roberts? And now it's making a lot more sense. Carrie Roberts' testimony is all over the place, hard to follow. And she doesn't have the most specific memory. She seems to play kind of fast and loose with the timing of things. That was just my impression. And I've outlined some issues with her testimony in other episodes. And Jen McCabe, who I generally felt was a stronger witness, her language supported Karen Reed's narrative through much of it. Let's just take a listen and we can see what I'm talking about here. I'm going to try to not make this too long an episode, I hope. So let's just listen to some of it.
Her at Fairview, then her response was she didn't even remember going there.
Did she ever deny that she came to Mr. O'Keefe's house? To your sister's house?
No.
When she told you or said to you, did I hit him or could have I hit him or something like that, did you have any idea what she was talking about?
No, I didn't pay attention to it.
When she told you that she had cracked her tail light the night before, did that have any significance at that time to you?
No.
So in telling you these different...
Why didn't she pay attention to it? It would be as a juror, I'd want to know more about how she was feeling and why she was so late to put the pieces together. Was it Karen Reed screaming and yelling and screaming her name in her ear? So we know Karen Reed leaned over in between Jen McCabe and Carrie Roberts and screamed their names, Jen, Carrie, all the way to 34 Fairview so that she could pretend to find John O'Keefe and then pretend to be hysterical, like she was so in shock. But that, when your name is yelled in that manner, it puts you into a fear state and starts to discombobulate your mind.
Different things. Did you ever piece them together at that time?
No.
What was your primary motivation at that point?
I just wanted to help her because she was hysterical. Kaylee was very upset, so I wanted to help her, and I wanted to find John.
So after she told you these things about whether she could or did hit her and the light and not remembering,
I wanted to find John. But, I mean, that's a great time to say. Then later I realized he wasn't lost at all, and Karen Reed knew right where he was. You know, we'll go into the criticism of me and my channel saying I want the witnesses to lie. I've never said I want them to lie. I've never asked them to lie. I've asked them to reflect on what happened and their own behavior and Karen Reed's behavior. Because I don't think they realize that they've been fooled by Karen Reed and they were manipulated by her. They're still parroting out her, I was helping her find him. They weren't helping. They were brought there to mix it all up. And I wonder how Jen McCabe feels now when she told, or what are her thoughts on why she told Karen Reed to stop talking and stop incriminating herself to the police. Remember, Jen McCabe, it was her, John O'Keefe was her friend. And if Karen Reed murdered her friend, why was she trying to help the murderer get away with her murder of her friend? She didn't have to say anything as Karen Reed was incriminating herself. But Jen McCabe chose to speak up and say something. Why? I mean, these are all things that would be helpful, and I bring them out because I hope they're helpful in getting them to think about their actions and reflect on their behavior before they have to give testimony in their federal case defending from Karen Reed, defending themselves against Karen Reed. And they're...
Did the conversation end or did it progress?
At some point, I was then going into like, okay, well, if she brought him there and left him there, where was he? Because he never came in the house and she doesn't know where he is. So now where could he be? So I started thinking there was another gentleman that was supposed to meet us out at the bar who John was friends with. So I thought, okay, well, in my head, I'm thinking maybe they got into a fight. John got out of the car and he connected with this guy because he was at a party on the street.
What was that person's name?
His name is Tom Beatty.
Did you call him?
Yes.
Did you get a chance to speak to him that night?
That morning?
Yes.
No.
Did you call around anywhere else?
I believe I called my sister. I called John. I called Tom Beatty. I called his daughter.
You called John O'Keefe's phone?
Yes.
Did he answer?
No.
Did it go right to voicemail?
I don't remember.
Did you text anybody?
I I honestly don't remember if I texted. I primarily think I was just trying to call as many people as I could and try to figure out what happened.
So you had 2 conversations at this point with the defendant while you were still.
But Karen Reed is telling you what happened. She hit him. She's showing you her smashed to smithereens taillight. And what are you thinking? You know, when both in 2 trials, we still don't have a really good idea of how Kerry Roberts and Jen McCabe were, if they were at all putting the pieces together. And they still have very little skepticism, it seems, as to what the information that Karen Reed was telling them.
Oh.
Yes.
Was there any further phone calls that you had before you did something?
I'm not sure if I know I went downstairs to make coffee because my plan was to go with my husband. I said, come on, let's just go over to Tom Beatty's. Let's see. Maybe John's there. He passed out on the couch. I'm not sure if Karen called me again or not. It's a little foggy because there was so many calls and everything.
Okay. And so that morning when you're receiving calls, did something happen?
Karen showed up at my house.
How did you know Karen showed up at your house?
I could hear her screaming out front.
And about what time is this?
Approximately 5:20, 5:30. I can't be sure.
Were you worried for John at this point?
Not particularly, no.
Were you screaming?
No.
Now at this point, at this moment when you hear her outside of your house yelling, early morning hours, did you know a person by the name of Kerry Roberts?
I knew of her. I'd met her once.
Were you friends with her at that time?
No.
Had you socialized with her at that time?
No.
Had you ever seen her before with John?
Once.
Tell me about that.
Years earlier, as I said earlier, I used to take Kaylee on Friday nights, and Kerry was the one who would take Patrick on Friday nights. So we would each have the kids. And to thank us, one day John told us how he got a discount at Reebok and to get our kids' shoe sizes, and he was going to buy us all sneakers, just as a way to say thank you for helping. So we all went to the store together, and then John took Kerry and myself to the hillside for lunch.
How many years before this moment was that?
Oh, gosh. Well, I think that's when my daughter was in kindergarten or first grade, and at this point she was in 8th grade. So like 7 years.
Had you ever spent any other time with Kerry Roberts before this morning?
No.
Were you friends at that point?
No.
How would you consider your relationship with Miss Roberts on that morning when Miss Reed arrived to your home?
I had met her once, and that was the extent of it. I wouldn't say I knew her at all, beyond that one time I went out with her.
Okay, I want you to take us back now to when you first hear the defendant in your driveway yelling. When you hear that, do you hear any words, or is it general yelling?
So I hear yelling, so I go to...
She's got a much better memory of this morning than Kerry Roberts. That's my impression.
I was downstairs making coffee. I go to my front door and I open it, and she's screaming, Jen, Jen! She's screaming that 3 times, and then she was saying, "We have to go to Fairview." A lot of the "could I have hit him? Did I hit him?" Just she was on repeat.
What did you do?
My husband came running down the hall and was like, "Tell her to shut up. She's going to wake up the neighbors." And then I said, "I'm just going to go with her. I'm going to go look for John." And then he yelled down saying something like, "You can't be driving around in this weather, with a broken taillight."
When you saw the defendant at your front door, had the weather changed overnight?
Yes.
Was it different?
Yes, now the snow had intensified. It was almost like, it was dark outside, but it was like whiteout conditions.
How dark?
Dark. It was dark. It was like 5:30 in the morning.
What was the visibility like?
Not good.
After you meet the defendant at your door, do you let her in or does she stay outside?
I'm not sure if I just grabbed my coffee and ran out
Where did you
or
go?
whether she came in. So we went down my walkway. She was just kind of running all around. The driver's door was open, so I told her I was going to drive because I thought she was too hysterical to drive. In the meantime, all of a sudden there was a car at the end of my street and there was a plow behind it.
The car that came to the end of your street, do you know where it went?
I meant the end of my driveway, I'm sorry.
When you say the end of your driveway, did it pull into your driveway?
No, it just kind of stopped right at the base of my driveway.
Okay. How far behind your car was?
I mean, just what a nightmare. What a nightmare. But just a poor. It's interesting. Could I have hit him? But she doesn't include I hit him, which is what the first responders heard. I hit him. It's all the questions that she's repeating here. Pretty interesting. But this has been, Karen Reed knew these personalities before this trial ever started. And who's helping the witnesses give the best testimony possible? Who's being really frank with them and telling them how they come across? Who is telling them, no, don't go, Jen McCabe. Don't follow Turtle Boy. It's a bad look. Who was advising them to put their social media on private? Because they seem, at least Jennifer McCabe, seemed to unwisely connect herself with Kate Peter, who's a self-described sociopath and who worked for Aidan Carney. And who has her motive is to bring Aidan Carney down. Really? I mean, you can listen to, I interviewed her early on in the case. Let's take a listen to that interview. Actually, hold on. Let's hear some of her criticisms of this channel and answer them before, and then I'll play. Actually, you know what? Here, let me play this first, and then we'll hear her criticisms. So I asked her why she got involved in the Karen Reed case. Take a listen.
Sid, and how do you seem to know everything about this case?
So I hate Turtle Boy. That's
So yeah, I did believe at that time that she did know everything about this case. And later on, I found out that she didn't know half as much as she pretended to know.
pretty much of that. I mean, so I tend to profile people anyway. I've been on and off with him for years, battling back and forth. I actually used to work for him.
So if you missed that, why she got involved in this case is because she hates Turtle Boy. And the war between Kate Peter and Turtle Boy has been another huge distraction in this. And it's distracted away from Karen Reed's guilt and Karen Reed's own involvement in propagandizing, not just using Turtle Boy to propagandize her and her lawyers, using Turtle Boy to propagandize the public, but using mainstream media too. And so many of them, Ted Daniels, Sue O'Connell. I know I'm missing a whole lot more. All really wrote about John O'Keefe's murder in a way that was favorable to Karen Reed.
So there was about a 2-year period when I wrote for his blog. I pretty much co-ran the blog. I'm not thrilled to admit that now, but it is the truth. Unfortunately, that is what I did. And when I separated from the blog, he went on the attack. So it's been kind of back and forth ever since. So
she's got a personal motive to want to beat Turtle, win with Turtle Boy. And that's obviously going to conflict with the witnesses' motives. And it seems like there may be some conflict between the witnesses' motives and the O'Keefe's motives. I found it really interesting that the Testify website that's raising money for the harassed witnesses in this case was using John O'Keefe's badge number as a way to raise money on his murder date. I mean, I was joking to my friend that, like, for extra money on the hat you can get embroidered on the back of the hat, we testified we all loved John O'Keefe's killer. I mean, so what I was told about the way that they testified was they thought that if they said they all loved Karen Reed, that would pull the rug out from under the conspiracy. That's what I was told behind the scenes. But the problem with that, and if you really did love Karen Reed, you should say, I loved her. But what a great opportunity to talk about her revolting behavior or the red flags that you missed during the time that you knew her. And I do think that Erin O'Keefe had a really strong friendship with Karen Reed, is sitting on a lot of knowledge of Karen Reed's personality and behaviors. And it's not a good idea to hide it. Put it out there, because nobody knows anything about Karen Reed. Karen Reed was able to expose the private life of all these witnesses, but we still know nothing about Karen Reed. And she was on trial. So here is a live stream, and here are some of the issues, and I think it'd be good for me to try to clarify here.
Glass by constantly nitpicking their testimony and saying that they either misremembered or they're liars.
Well, who is nitpicking their testimony? Do you think that the lawyers in the civil trial or the federal trial aren't going to nitpick their testimony? Someone needs to nitpick and help them give the best evidence possible. How are you helping, Kate?
It's great, because the amount of vehicles that the Reeds showed up with that morning has so much bearing on what happened earlier when John O'Keefe was hit by a car.
Right. Does Kate think that the only evidence to come into a trial is the evidence directly related to Karen Reed striking John O'Keefe with her car and leaving him to die in the cold in a blizzard? So the fact that Paul O'Keefe testified where he was mistaken and wrongly and said that the Reeds came in two cars when you can clearly see everyone. So everyone can see when the ring camera footage, and he testified before he ever looked at the ring camera footage. It goes to issues of credibility and memory. So if you made a mistake like that, the best thing to do is to say, I realize now looking at the ring cameras that they came in one car. But he didn't correct his testimony. He went on to testify the same way after the ring camera footage was shown. And it can make a jury less likely to believe you. When you get minute nitpicky details wrong. How did Karen Reed get away with her murder? By magnifying nitpicky small details in the case. I mean, do butt dials have anything to do with the fact that Karen Reed murdered John? Not really, but Karen Reed was able to exploit them, and she will exploit small nitpicky details in the civil case and in the federal case.
Right, like has so much bearing on it. Let's just nitpick everything. Let's obsess over whether or not Richie the plumber is real or not, because that's real germane to the case. And it's like, it's not painful to constantly pick apart every single detail of the most traumatic day of these people's.
It's not painful. Well, if it's too painful to talk about, they don't really have a choice because they have to testify, right? And painful or not, they're going to have to testify for 7 hours in a deposition, probably in both cases. Who's helping them give the best evidence possible? Not Kate, because she doesn't understand the significance. Now, we can laugh because Richie, the plumber, is a plumber. And we know John O'Keefe was a good plumber, and his father is a plumber. But if Karen Reed had called a police officer over that night and told John O'Keefe about it to keep her safe because she heard some rustling in the bushes, everyone would get what that was about. Why didn't she call her boyfriend? He's a police officer. But because it's a plumber, people can, and we know that they fought about, or they went back and forth about this plumber. So the last text messages between Karen Reed and John O'Keefe. So if you don't know, Karen Reed texted John O'Keefe that she was waiting on a Friday night for Richie, the plumber, to come fix her hot water issues. She went into great detail about this Richie, the plumber, and that how he put the toilet seats on crooked. And John immediately sensed what it was about and wrote, "Are you trying to piss me off?" But what a great illustration, if Richie doesn't exist, of Karen Reed being a pathological liar and playing and abusing John O'Keefe with mind games and gaslighting. It's like you're having a plumber over at 7:30, 8. I can't remember exactly. It's like 7:30 or 8 o'clock on a Friday night. Good luck, he writes. And no one ever found out whether that plumber actually existed. We still haven't seen Karen Reed's text messages. Who's getting those? Who's getting the evidence for the witnesses and the victim's family, the O'Keefes in this case? They should have access to all the evidence.
Lives, right? Like it's just it's like completely devoid of any empathy.
And then to simultaneously wonder why they don't trust you.
Right. So they're making assumptions that I've never talked to any of these people. And I would never talk about publicly what I say behind the scenes to anyone and who I've talked to, because I protect the people who are witnesses in this case. I would never, I know a lot of people like to make that their calling card. But I'm trying to get my message out loud and clear. If it wasn't made behind the scenes, that someone has to help them give the best evidence possible. That's it.
With their story is a lot.
Right.
That's dumb.
Well, because it has to be Roberta's story. Can't be their story. It has to be her version of the story. God forbid John's friends come up and say, like, yeah, we liked Karen.
God forbid. Yeah. It helps the killer. Do you think Karen Reed just became the person when she immediately reversed into John O'Keefe? She just became suddenly a different person who all accused them of murder to distract away from her crime and started a massive innocence fraud campaign for herself? and profited off of her murder? You think she just became that person the minute she reversed into John O'Keefe? I don't know what they could say. I didn't have that experience with them, so I can't. They're giving me too much power here. I don't know what to tell them to say, but I'm certainly not going to tell them to leave it at, we love the killer. If they really love their friend John O'Keefe. There's a great opportunity there to talk about Karen Reed's behavior and what you missed and what red flags you missed. But self-reflection, we seem short on self-reflection, big on quit on this side, and big on simping for the killer.
And, the family comes up and says, yeah, we liked Karen. No, they can't say that because we've got to make Karen look as bad as possible. And Roberta's upset that they're saying that.
Which is such a free Karen Reed position. And that's what I keep saying. Her position is
I'm just totally confused as to how calling Karen Reed, talking about the red flags that you might have missed, or talking about Karen Reed's abusive behavior and domestic violence in relation to John O'Keefe, is a free Karen Reed position. That's Lydia. She goes by Lydia online.
free Karen Reed position. They're being honest. They're telling the same story they've told all along. They liked her.
It seems like her position is a Roberta position. I don't think it really matters what's right and wrong. It seems like she's self-serving.
True.
I don't know shit about her.
Please tell me how this position has served me at all. Has served me. It has, taking this position has not helped my channel or myself much, but it's gained a whole bunch of smears, nearly brought my entire channel down with the Forensic Four's malicious copyright strikes, of which I had to hire a lawyer to get my channel back. But it's very self-serving.
Just from what I've heard here, she can get mad if she wants to suck my dick.
She will. She'll rage over it. I don't care. And again, there's unity. No, I don't do we're not a cult. Okay, we're this whole unity. I'm going to call it as.
Well, someone better get the memo out, because that's been the main criticism, is that I've ruined the unity. So just FYI, for those in the back, Kate Peter no longer, and she's telling the crew that they no longer care about unity. They just don't like being criticized.
I see it on every aisle. And I was really, really upset by that whole thing. And I mean, someone is in the comments now saying she called out Erin O'Keefe too. Why? Why, Roberta?
Who the fuck is Erin O'Keefe?
It's John.
Who is Erin O'Keefe? This is our side. They don't know the victim's sister, who testified in the first trial. Don't know her. Who is she? I called out Erin O'Keefe because she had a lot of contact with Karen Reed. I think she knows a lot about Karen Reed. Anything she knows, she should put in the public domain. I mean, that Justice for John O'Keefe website is useless and has never been corrected. Great time to put out all Natalie Bernschneider-Wieke's unedited communications. Anything that you have between her and Turtle Boy, where she's speaking for Karen Reed, put it out. Don't just edit, cherry pick one or two for your show. Put them all out. If you have Kaylee's testimony and you can put it out, put it out. If you have any transcripts, put them out. But everybody's so concerned with content and their channel.
Sister-in-law, wonderful woman.
What?
I'm an Erin O'Keefe fan. I like her a lot. Anytime that I see her, she's pleasant, she's sharp, she's smart. I like Erin O'Keefe. I like Paul O'Keefe. I like all of them. I genuinely, if I met them in any other circumstance, I feel the same way. They're just solid, good people. And they are getting picked apart by both sides. sometimes because they're not behaving or reciting a story that people think that they should, right? Like their grief is being co-opted for the internet.
Their grief is being co-opted.
It's insane.
How dare they not dance like puppets for these random online Fraggle Rock characters?
It's not about dancing for me. It's about giving the best evidence possible in their own. They're the ones who started this civil suit, Paul O'Keefe and company. They want to win this civil suit. Someone needs to be helping them give the best evidence possible because they are consumed with grief. And they do have real life jobs. They're not like Karen Reed. They're not like a sociopath or psychopath like Karen Reed and Kate Peter, who aren't emotionally affected and can just work endlessly to further their cause. They will be bogged down by real life emotions and real life grief. Well, let me see if I can get through this.
Right. And if they don't listen to Roberto Glass, they're going to lose. And she likes to point out all the time.
No. How do I know they're going to lose? Because it's obvious. I mean, I could give everybody false hope and say we're all in a great position, but we're not. I call it like I see it. All right, I gotta take a commercial break. I'll be right back after a word from our sponsor. Don't go anywhere.
And now a word from today's sponsor. Shelley Levisay never imagined she'd become a statistic. As a prosecutor, she fought for domestic violence victims. As a Christian and a professional, she believed in second chances and the power of love. But when she met Matthew, a veteran with PTSD and a violent past, her compassion became her weakness. He manipulated her, abused her, and nearly destroyed everything she'd worked for. Love Isn't Always the Answer is more than a memoir. It's a wake-up call. Shelley's story reveals the insidious nature of narcissistic abuse and the courage it takes to reclaim your life. If you've ever felt trapped in a relationship, or if you know someone who has, this book is for you. Start reading today and discover a story of survival, redemption, and hope. The link is in this episode's description. Read Love Isn't Always the Answer, a memoir written by defense attorney Shelley Levisay. Available in Kindle, audiobook, or paperback.
Okay, I'm back. I know it's depressing to say that we're losing. I know it's depressing and not great news to say that Karen Reed is 10 steps ahead of everyone. But how is it helping the witnesses or the O'Keefe family in giving them false hope and saying that the tides are turning because you're in an echo chamber? How is that exactly helpful?
How Karen Reed is winning. Like this is some sort of sporting event. Like, you know what, Roberta? They lost on January 29th, 2022. That was a loss. They lost. They'll never get that back, right? Like, I mean, fucking hell. There's no winners beyond that.
Okay. So then why even have a criminal trial? And then why even bring a civil trial? I'm acutely aware of what murder victims' families go through when their loved one is murdered. But, I got a message from someone who followed the Amanda Knox case and wrote a book actually on Amanda Knox. And she said, this is just like Amanda Knox. This is never going to end. The torture, what she wrote was, the torture never ends. Meaning the torture for the O'Keefe family will never end, as Karen Reed will keep going from strength to strength. And there will always be someone in the mainstream media, celebrities included, And in Amanda Knox's case, like Gwyneth Paltrow or Joe Rogan, to let them spew their lies. And it never, they can never move on. It just goes on and on and on. I mean, Karen Reed's already had her Lifetime TV movie with her version in it. And she continues to profit, give interviews, and continues to profit off this case. Because there is no opposition.
Shut the fuck up. Oh, I really don't like that. I tried to like her too. It's like you go in and like, you know, especially in the beginning, because it was just me. I was the only person that was like, I don't believe in this conspiracy. I know that Aiden Carney is a scumbag and I don't trust any of this. And like, it's wrong. I was alone, completely alone. You know.
So this is Kate Peter and Kevin Linehan's new talking point. That they were the only ones out there, so they're rewriting history.
I would ask people, and they didn't want to
Aiden Carney didn't get involved till April 2023.
Get involved, and I understand why, and that's fine. But I was alone, so I was very, very thankful when anybody would start to speak out and look at things.
So and you seem to go and try to make friends with these witnesses and insert yourself into this case. And it's been a disaster. From your best friend, Lindsay Gattani, to other personalities you've brought in and big upped. Like Uvita Navarro's murderer, BFF, Kevin Linehan. It's all been one big closing in New Haven.
More critically and be more supportive of the actual victims. Like, that was great. And so I tried to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But like the Robertas and the Grants of the world, like, how far can the benefit of the doubt really go? Like, am I supposed to just ignore as you act like assholes? I can't do that.
So she's trying to put me in with Grant Smith Ellis, who I have nothing to do with and have blocked on all social media.
Yeah, it's really shocking, and all under the banner of innocence fraud, and you know, we're anti-innocence fraud when there's
none of you have taken the time to actually look into what and find out what innocence fraud is before you claim you're anti-innocence fraud. Hey, Lydia, you have a member of your team texting with a killer. And another one who claims to calls the killer by his first name and has him on his show multiple times from prison. So why don't you find out what it is and how it's done before you actually use the phrase innocence fraud? I know it's convenient for you guys to use it. Post-trial, pre-trial, nobody would say the words. Pre the second trial, during the second trial. After the second trial, everybody wanted to use the phrase innocence fraud. I don't own it. I didn't create it. But it's a phenomenon I've studied and talked about since the beginning of my channel, 9 years ago, 2017. So what's that? 9 years.
that is not what they are. And I'm talking about they.
How would you know who's an innocence fraudster, who's not, if you don't understand how it works?
The collective Borg that is the Roberta Glass / mysterious purported person in England blob that operates as a unit.
She writes she's not a blob. And why would you use that word blob? Which was used to describe what Julie Nagel saw that morning on the dark corner of 34 Fairview, which was John O'Keefe's murdered body. Odd. And Innocence Fraud Watch does write a blog And before you said we were the same people, and you made all sorts of comments on your social media about us being the same person. Now that you're wrong, are you going to correct the record, Lydia?
Or streamers that come up and use the case as a platform to talk about their own financial problems all the time and donate to me, donate to me, donate to me. What are you really doing this for? Right? When the conversation is dominated by how you need money.
Well, they can't be talking about me because I'm the worst self-promoter out there. My channel. So that is just some of it. But what a nightmare we're in with this case. That's all I can say. I'm going to keep it short tonight. I might continue on this subject at a later time, but I do want to keep it short and listenable for today and not go on and on and on and on. All right. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow at 6.
I hit my boyfriend with my car. It wasn't an accident, but with lying lawyers I'll go far. Lying lawyers and witness harassment. I'll avoid prison, it was snowing. I pushed the pedal down, hit him hard. Now the legal system I clown. Innocence fraud campaign to save my skin. Making money, truth is my second victim. Carry, Jen, like John, you were my mark. My innocence fraud campaign is my biggest hit. Yeah. I hit my boyfriend with my car. It wasn't an accident, but with lying lawyers I'll go far. Lying lawyers and witness harassment. I'll avoid prison, it was snowing. I pushed the pedal down, hit him hard. Now the legal system I clown.